Hello and welcome to Catalan News. 4 Catalan pro-independence leaders will remain in prison during the electoral campaign. The judge decided to keep the Catalan Vice President, Oriol Junqueras, along with the deposed Home Affairs Minister and the 2 incarcerated civil leaders behind bars. The other 6 officials in prison have been freed under a bail of €100,000 each. Meanwhile, in Brussels, today Puigdemont and the rest of his government testified in their extradition case. In today's show, we will get you the latest on all the judicial developments, as well as the polls for the December 21st election. 32 days and 32 nights. This is the time 6 Catalan ministers have been in 2 prisons in the Madrid region while awaiting trial. The Spanish Supreme Court has decided to release them, but 4 other leaders will have to spend more time behind bars. 3 of them are candidates in the election, but will not be able to run in the campaign. In fact, one of them, Oriol Junqueras, is the top candidate of the party currently leading the polls.
Tonight, as the electoral campaign begins, the pro-independence leader of the party topping the polls will be in prison. Vice President Oriol Junqueras will continue behind bars in Madrid for his role in Catalonia's push for independence, as will former Home Affairs Minister Joaquim Forn, as well as the civil society leaders Jordi Cuixart and Jordi Sanchez. Today, the Spanish Supreme Court reassessed the provisional detention of 10 pro-independence leaders, but only 6 were released on bail. So, why the difference? The judge quoted a document seized by the Spanish police during the raids of Catalan government buildings carried out on September the 20th and 21st. The document allegedly mentions a strategic committee to declare the Catalan Republic, and which would include the leaders still behind bars. Yet their lawyers challenge the document's credibility and say they will appeal the judge's decision.
Este documento es un documento que no tiene firma, es un documento que no tiene fecha y es un documento que ninguno de nuestros clientes tiene idea de quién lo ha hecho.
The judge also referred to the peaceful protests sparked in response to the September police raids. He labelled them as violent and warned that should the 4 leaders be freed, similar episodes could occur again.
Lo que nosotros negamos es que en ningún momento haya estado en la mente de nuestros clientes el contribuir a que hubiera ningún tipo de estallido social, sino sencillamente canalizar la protesta por una serie de actuaciones.
The court imposed €100,000 bail for each of the 6 leaders who were released. Pro-independence organisations used a solidarity fund that has previously been used to pay the legal costs of other pro-independence leaders. Later in the day, the 6 bailed ministers left prison and were cheered by their relatives and political colleagues. After over a month behind bars, tonight they will finally be able to sleep at home.
The Spanish Supreme Court's decision to keep 4 Catalan leaders in jail has sparked outrage in the Catalan political arena. The pro-independence movement criticised the move by the judge, but even some parties against the Catalan state rejected the court's decision.
És un dia de tristesa i d'impotència davant d'una decisió judicial que entenem que és absolutament arbitrària, profundament injusta.
No només als independentistes, sinó a tothom li ha de preocupar que hi hagi un abús d'una mesura tan extrema com és la presó preventiva.
Me n'alegro pels membres del govern que a partir d'ara deixaran d'estar a presó, però considero que s'hagués hagut d'estendre aquesta mesura al conjunt.
Persones honestes que no fan altra cosa que obeir el mandat democràtic del seu poble, continuen a la presó per les seves idees.
Ja ha passat mai fer una campanya electoral amb una part del govern exiliat a Brussel·les i una part tancat a la presó, i vol dir que farem tot el possible, tot el que estigui a les nostres mans, perquè puguin, evidentment, exercir com a candidats de la campanya del 21 de desembre, que és el que són.
Aquesta campanya ja està sent prou singular com perquè aquest fet el condicioni o no. Tots no ens enganyem.
El pueblo de Catalunya los liberará. Y los liberará con las urnas.
The officials in jail won't be the only ones unable to campaign in Catalonia. The Catalan president, Carles Puigdemont, and the other 4 ministers of his cabinet have been in exile in Brussels for more than 1 month now. The aim of moving to the EU capital was to make the Catalan issue international. Today, all 5 had an important appointment. We can speak now with our correspondent in Brussels, Laura Pose, to know more about the latest developments of their stay in the Belgian capital. Good evening, Laura. Tell us, what happened today?
Hello, good evening. Today was the day in which the defense of the Catalan president and the 4 Catalan ministers that are here in Brussels with him had the opportunity to defend their case against extradition, and also the prosecutor, the Belgian prosecutor, defended the case of sending them back to Spain. The arguments that they used were obviously very different. The defense argued that they should not be sent back to Spain because there their fundamental rights might be violated, and also they said that the alleged crimes that they are facing in Spain do not have an equal crime here in Belgium. That's their case. The prosecutor is arguing that they should be sent back to Spain. That all depends on the judge. He admitted that this is a very complicated case. That's why he decided to give himself 10 days to take a decision. So the next important date here in Brussels in courts is going to be the 14th of December.
Hem pogut donar els arguments conforme als quals entenem que aquesta extradició no s'ha de produir, perquè els fets no serien delictius conforme l'ordenament jurídic belga, primer gran bloc d'arguments, i segon gran bloc d'arguments perquè en cas de que es produís l'extradició hi ha molts elements per considerar que no tindrien a Espanya un judici amb totes les garanties que exigeixen els tractats internacionals.
The most atypical political campaign in Catalonia's recent history starts at midnight. The intensity of the political and judicial developments make the results highly unpredictable. Even the validity of the results isn't clear. The harshness of the measures taken by Spain to stop the independence process, including seizing power in Catalonia, has increased the mistrust. That's why Esquerra Party President Oriol Junqueras from jail has asked the European Union to oversee the election results. His party's Secretary General supported him today.
Farem revisar per part de tots aquells organismes internacionals competents que fan d'observadors permanents sobre campanyes electorals. Demanarem que revisin si el procés electoral que comença aquest vespre té totes les garanties democràtiques.
While Esquerra aims to continue on the road to independence after December 21st, the Spanish government representative in Catalonia sees things very differently. He believes that the vote will bring Catalans closer to the institution.
Hemos recuperado la Constitución en Cataluña, pero ahora tenemos algo más importante que hacer: devolver el espíritu constitucional a nuestra sociedad y a nuestras instituciones.
Who will prevail after the election? The pro-independence bloc will most likely get more seats than the Unionists, but will it be enough for a majority? The latest poll, published today by the Spanish Research Institute, said that the supporters of a Catalan state would fall short by 1 or 2 seats. Yet, they would get about 7 seats more than the Unionists. Between them is Catalunya and Comú, which rejects the positions of both blocs, but which might be decisive in tipping the scales. The Esquerra and Ciutadans parties would tie for first position, but Puigdemont's Together for Catalonia ticket is gaining ground very fast. With the Esquerra leader still in prison and Puigdemont able to campaign from Brussels, the 2 major parties in favor of a Catalan state could end up sharing the pro-independence vote fairly equally. Another poll from a Spanish newspaper this weekend forecast a 48% majority for the pro-independence parties. The campaign and the judiciary will no doubt help voters make up their minds.
While the members of the Catalan deposed parliament have their judicial cases still open, the Spanish government is still enforcing direct rule in Catalonia. One of the results is the seizure of power in cultural matters. A judge ruled today that Catalonia has to hand over 44 disputed artworks to the Spanish region of Aragon. The Catalan administration has for years rejected giving the works back to its original location on the grounds that the pieces were bought legally in the 90s. Also, the Culture Department claims that the works are too fragile to be moved. Yet its position is now weakened because the Spanish executive has been in charge of cultural issues in Catalonia since the application of Article 155. Moving on. With its Mediterranean climate, Catalonia is a great place for growing olive trees and, of course, for producing olive oil, a staple in the Mediterranean diet, using anything from pa amb tomàquet, a Catalan classic of bread and tomato with a drizzle of oil, to typical country stews. And this year, despite the late rains, has still been a good year for olive oil production.
Tarragona has hosted the 17th edition of the Fira de l'Oli, an annual fair dedicated to olive oil produced under the Siurana origin of denomination, and this year hasn't been a bad year for olive oil production, despite the drought, according to the president of the Regulating Council, DOP Ciurana. In fact, compared to 2016, which also suffered a drought, olive oil production actually increased.
Si no hagués hagut la sequera que hi ha hagut, les pluges van arribar a l'octubre, que ja era una mica tard, potser hauríem passat dels 6 milions, però bueno, ens quedarem en aquests 5 milions, que també és una bona quantitat.
At the olive oil fair, producers plied their trade, setting up stalls with all sorts of bottles of olive oil on display. People tasted different varieties of olive oil, all made with the Arbequina cultivar of olives, in accordance with the rules of DOP Ciurana. And of course, the oil was on sale in abundance. Catalan says that the 5-liter bottle is the star product, although the 4-liter bottles are popular with restaurants and hotels. Exports are also on the rise, specifically to Germany, France and the Nordic countries, but also reaching as far as the USA and even China and Japan. Producing olive oil is no minor feat. It's a slow business, but not necessarily in the financial sense. It doesn't just happen overnight, Galceran says. From growing the trees, waiting for them to fruit, waiting for the olives to mature, and then producing the oil itself. Patience is the key.
In other news, unemployment rose by almost 1.8% in November in Catalonia. It was the biggest increase for this month since 2009, and it coincided with Spain's imposition of direct rule over Catalonia and the ongoing political conflict over independence. Around 7,400 more people were out of work in Catalonia last month. There are currently nearly 500,000 people registered as job seekers in the country. However, on the bright side, unemployment in general is still down by around 9% compared to the same period last year. In fact, a poll stated today that the main concern of Catalans is unemployment, even ahead of the political situation between Catalonia and Spain. That's all for us today, but before we go, we leave you with some images from a concert that took place this weekend, calling for the freedom of the jailed Catalan officials and grassroots pro-independence leaders. We'll be back tomorrow for more Catalan news. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy the song Llançat, one of the all-time Catalan rock classics.
No canvien, però ja no és que eres abans. Doncs he estat ja 5 o 6 i sóc el